Interesting. I mean, the big issues that we've had. I mean, we're not just by the way, just to clarify, we've got about 9,000 customers in our company. I don't know, you've got 80,000 customers. So, pound for pound, there is sort of a system there for the amount of vans we've got to the ratio of customers you've got. So, you've managed to do that in a really, in my opinion, a very very short time to go from when what did you say 2004 was it?
I took the business on 2008.
2008,
Yeah.
so it's even less. So from that to probably get, I'd guess maybe you had 10,000 customers maybe when you... 6,000. To get to that level in that short period of time is, to me, is an unbelievable achievement. Not even sure it's achievable now with the competition, but you've done it. You've proof in the pudding, you've done it. So someone to me that's trying to scale and grow, there's companies out there we've got, like I said, 9,000 customers. Now, they're not all active customers, so we would estimate 50% of them are active, that are constantly using our services. So I don't know how, do you know what I mean? So what advice would you give to me if I wanted to scale? So we are scalers, we've been saying a van a month, a van every 6 months, etc. So would you say you're better off using the business model you got that works, or take a little bit more risk, or pump some more cash in? What would your advice be to me?
So I think there's two elements to look at. Is one, where are your customers coming from? How are they finding you? And are they your typical profile type of customer? Because you can profile your customers. If you went on, maybe look at the last 100 boilers you fitted and look what type of house they are, what location they live in, what's your typical type of customer, who buys from you and your business. Then you kind of start to understand your marketing a little bit better. Because if you're marketing in a rural area with detached homes, but your prominent business type is the 3-bed semi in a town, you're better off dropping your marketing in 3-bed semis in town. So the things to look at would be the employment. So getting engineers in, but getting good engineers in. Because
Which come at a cost, of course.
Yeah, I really hate fast track courses. So I'm really put off by engineers that have been on fast track courses, because we've had such bad experiences with engineers on fast track courses. I think I don't want to be ageist, but it's chaps that generally have been, in their 30s or 40s. They go and do a fast track course. They're told on the course you're going to get 40 odd grand. And I would say 9 out of 10 people that we interview for a job has been on a fast track course, has an unrealistic expectation of salary. The qualification means one thing: the experience, the knowledge, and the fact that they can turn up to a job, be professional, do it once, do it right, and all the other things you need to do to give an end-to-end experience of installing boilers. Absolutely miles off, and you end up spending so much of your time training and educating. And the problem is, I think we've had those kind of engineers with us. They've come to us. It's a stopgap. They want to gain a lot of experience, and then they're off setting their own businesses up. So I think from the off, they retrain it later in life because the money. They're after money. They say They say high figures when you interview, and then they're off as soon as they've got enough as they need to. But they're really, really weak.
You rarely make it through it, in my experience. They rarely make it through the day, because ultimately you can't squash anything into experience. Like you said, if you're put into a room and you're working at the ACS centres, or you're being trained there, you're trained online, let's face it, they're really easy to work on.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with any issues, customers, etc. It's just a completely... So when you put them out there, going back to the theory with the lads who drive the car, you won't chuck them in a Lambo, would you, if they were your son and they were 17? It's the same thing. That would take years before you would trust them to go into it. So I think my opinion is, just correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know if you'll back me up or not, I would say it takes 5 years to be able to go out on your own and pretty much get through the majority of it. I would say it takes 10 years to become I would never say master, but to become really knowledgeable at your job, where you completely don't ring the office anymore for any technical advice, and you solve it yourself. I would say it's an underestimated industry. Same with electricians. We are compared to a lot of other trades, but I don't think people realise the technical. We get a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a piece of pistons. We just push plastic together. You just do this, this, and this." We're like, if only. So,
well, I think because we've got electricians and we've custom electric, and then we've got our gas engineers, plumbers, custom heat, and I actually think the gas engineers get quite a raw deal compared to electricians, because all gas engineers have to be qualified. They have to reset every 5 years. You need specific little modules to be able to touch anything, and it's all black and white, and it lands on the lap of the gas engineer. The one thing we've learnt with electricians is you have a QS, a guy that just says, yeah, that's okay, and you have a load of people that are not as qualified that go out and do loads of work. And electricians by default, will ask for more money on an interview. Although
Actually, on the interview?
Yeah, so we try to get an indication of what they're looking for, and the reason we always put a scale on an interview, we put an advert out and say it's between 35 and 45, or whatever it is, and the reason we do that is because you'll see somebody that's been on a fast track course for 10 minutes with no experience, or you'll see somebody that's been doing it 20 years with gas, oil, LPG, commercial, domestic. They might want a higher amount, the other person might want a lower amount.
It's area to area though, isn't it, as well? We up our end and further go down south like you guys, you'll probably pay more than we do because of areas, so it's definitely area specific. So if you're watching someone in London doing something, you're seeing what they're doing, it's not a true factor of what someone in down in say Bolton or in the North's doing. That really frustrates me because in the area, and especially on some of the Indeeds, like you just said, they'll put a scale on, and they're all down at the bottom scale here really, because ultimately to get here you've got to be like the director almost.
Yeah. I think, obviously going back to we were talking about apprenticeships and fast-track courses, and I think you're right with the time, the 5 years and the 10 years. But I do really value a proper apprenticeship, and I think a lot of the engineers that we've got that have been on it, you can see a noticeable difference in their work, the way they go about stuff. I think everybody needs to start in a trade, sweeping the back of a van out, understanding the way around shelving in a van, what's a red plug, a brown plug, a 2-inch tech, you know what I mean? That's kind of fundamental, whereas these fast-track courses are just like how they train you to pass a course, and then you go out and you're partially clueless. So I've kind of gone off fast-track. They've not been brilliant for our business. We invest a lot in apprentices and apprenticeships.
You've got one lad that was kind of fast track, but he'd done the plumbing and he could do the job pretty much inside and out. He was very practical, etc. So we did fast tracking, but we did it ourselves. So again, some people that come through on fast track are very knowledgeable, like for instance have been working at a plumbing company for 10 years as a plumber's mate and never really had the balls to make the next step. We found one of the lads particularly did that with him and he's brilliant. But I suppose going back to your key comment at the beginning, experience. So although he was fast track, so if you've been a taxi driver or you've been working somewhere that's nothing to do with industry, nothing to do with practical, fast track is not really going to work. You've got to be, I think, some sort of practicality, and I think some of the people that are coming into it don't realise what's involved.
Yeah, and then going way back, because we went off talking about employment, we were talking about scale, and I could only go off our own experience, and we've done and tried a lot of things that didn't work. One thing that stands out to me is when you're trying to generate the customer. So you obviously get the right engineer, but you're trying to actually generate more customers, more people to ring the business, more people to want your services and want it at the rates that you charge for. We've tried a lot of things like social media ads, Facebook. They are the worst. We won't even do them. We do the odd post and we boost it every now and again, but it's not an ad generally. And the other one is Google. Google's been for us a complete waste of time. So we had a attribution report made which showed us exactly every single penny that we spent on Google Ads, where it went. We've got recorded calls, our systems show it, we can follow the whole process. It's the worst thing. You'll get a little bit better increase in demand. I would never, ever, ever advertise on Google in the summer. Never. It is just a money pit. And I know businesses that have tried to scale off Google Ads. They've all failed. Every one of them. It's real bad. I think our business has been fortunate because we're very dominant in our town. So when we see, if I was to go on to the way in which customers book our services, the amount of volume of our postcoded CV over and over and over and over and over again, it is so dominant. And it's predominantly because of several reasons. One, we have a physical presence, which I know is not all possible for everyone, but that builds confidence. Secondly, we have probably 5,000 5-star reviews. That is massive, but we've invested in that, incentivising our engineers to work well enough for customers to leave genuine reviews. We don't say to customers, only leave us a review if you've had a good experience. If you haven't, give us a call. We don't do that. We just fire them out and we take the good with the bad. And actually building a having like a marketing presence that is incredibly strong. I spoke to a Google Ads marketer, and he was like, "Oh, we don't go down the branding route because you're just spending a fortune and not getting anywhere." I actually think that's a better route, because paid ads, if you actually net it down and down and down and down, you might have got 4 boiler leads that might have turned into 1, but look at actually what you spent and the management cost of what you spent. It's absolutely pointless. I mean, if we did see an increase in October and a couple of the higher months, but generally speaking, I just would not bother with Google Ads. It's a dangerous game to get into, because you need to spend more to get more, and then you are buying customers.
And you're in the race to the bottom
Yeah.
of the companies that are spending a fortune on the Google Ads, of course.
So personally, we've tried to perfect our employment, offering private healthcare. We're now doing 4-day working weeks, 6 months of the year, which is just genuine.
You did mention that, just touch on that for me, because you did mention that you trialled it in the summer last year with some engineers.
Yeah, well, so essentially, we have lost a few engineers this year. A lot of people with the COVID confidence to go out and, start their own business. That's great. For them, it's not so great for us, because, our engineers numbers, we are reliant on our engineers is working. So we've got to think of different ways to keep people happy and motivated and wanting to work here. And one of them is to take a risk around a 4-day working week. So not a 4-day that BG do where you drop a couple of hours and then they add it on here, an actual 4-day week. It was the original plan. So we trialled it with different engineers. We drew lots of comparisons from lots of different areas, looked at a lot of things analytically, took our time to make sure, because it's such a change. And we got to an end point where actually the impact of the 4-day week had on those engineers actually wasn't, in some cases, well, most cases it was neutral. In some cases it was a positive on a sale.